57-2.
Well, I'm going to start because a few weeks ago, I had said that illegal aliens cost California $15 billion a year. And then Rick did something which I didn't realize at the time. Rick did the math. So, Rick, how much did that wind up being for every Californian? $15 billion a year.
Is roughly, it's a little less than $400 per person, if you buy that number. And we'll go argue about that number. But it's $400 per Californian per year.
Okay, so that, and I remember, I gotta turn this off. I remember thinking to myself that that was not worth arguing about. I thought, well, you know, what's the big deal? $400 per year. And then I realized, I hope I'm talking loud, then I realized, well, $400 a year over 10 years is $4,000. That means I spent $4,000 over the past 10 years for something I did not ask for.
That's enough to buy a crappy car.
It's enough to pay my rent for 4 months. So you're telling me, wait a minute, I need to wind up. You're telling me.
Well, you need to get worked up?
Yeah, I need to get worked up. You're telling me, like, I just ignored it. I said, well, Rick did the math. It's only $1.25 a day. And I said something like, well, I don't want to pay $1.25 a day. And
it's more like $1.10.
And I remember thinking to myself, well, that's not a very good argument, Lance. I mean, what do you care if you spend $1.10 a day? And then I started doing my own math and the Richland method of math. And I said, well, that's going to add up an awful lot. And now it turns out Rick proved, using his mathematical ability, that over the past 10 years, I could have had 4 months' rent for free if it wasn't for Rick's illegal aliens.
If you buy the numbers. So I read your article, which puts the cost of illegal aliens, it comes from a conservative think tank called, whatever it is, Fact US or something. Anyway, conservative source. $135 billion for all of America per year, which also works out to be $400 per American per year. But then you go to the fact-checking sites, and you see a bunch of different numbers. You see Trump said it was $113 billion when he was running. You see other people, economists, saying, well, it's subject to a bunch of caveats, and that you can't really, that those numbers were cherry-picked off the high end, and that it doesn't really work that way since the U.S. runs at a deficit. Everybody costs the economy money, and that first-generation immigrants tend to cost money, but then second-generation and beyond tend to add to the economy and actually are a net benefit. And then I saw numbers as low as $43 billion per year and as high as $300 billion per year, but with people saying, that it's not really the right way to look at it. Okay. Of course, liberals would say it's not the right way to, but it's probably not the right way to look at it.
The point I'm trying to make is that, again, you're quibbling over the numbers. If let's say it's anywhere between $2,000 I've had to spend, and if it's $300 million, that'd be $8,000. So it's anywhere between a low of $2,000, which would have been 2 months of free rent, or $8,000, which would have been 8 months of free rent.
Yeah,
and what I'm telling you is, it's not a math problem. I should not have to pay any rent to protect illegal aliens.
Except if you do the math a little differently and you have first-generation immigrants come over, and then they have kids, and those kids become gainfully employed and they pay taxes.
That's 18 years from now. In my lifetime, I have had to spend several months of rent so you could have illegal aliens.
Except without those illegal aliens,
I'd
You
have
don't
to
have
spend. I'd have to spend another $10 a year more on fruit.
without those illegal aliens, you wouldn't have their kids who pay taxes who actually add to the national income.
No, I don't think so.
According to those articles I read, that's how it works.
Okay.
I mean, because you said a similar thing, which was that X number, like 80% of immigrants, like are on some kind of
80% of immigrants go on to welfare.
yeah,
Yes.
and then they get off of welfare, or their kids get off of welfare, and they contribute to the economy.
Yeah, but no, here's the thing. If you want to start talking like that, then I could say 80% of immigrants vote Democrat. And so those Democrat programs cost even more money in welfare and crazy socialist ideas and losing the Iraq War. So no, actually, if we're going to talk about what they do in the second generation, that's even worse.
What about starting the Iraq War for the price tag of $1 trillion?
Okay, and I'm saying I believe that it was necessary to fight Saddam. But that's not my point. What you're trying to do is you're trying to look for a good reason to have illegal aliens, and you're taking it out to the second generation. And I'm saying you can't predict something like that. It's too vague.
Yeah, but the articles.
The only thing
I'm just citing the articles.
Yeah, and
these
I'm
aren't
saying,
my ideas. These are the articles that I read that said that you can't just go with some glib estimate like that.
Okay, and I'm saying if we're going to take it out to the second generation, then 18 years from now, my country's going to be even more socialist and lose even more wars. So
actually, the country.
I would prefer they're less damage when it's just the first generation soaking up 2 to 8 months of rent from me.
The country is going to be less socialist 18 years from now and 100 years from now because people are going to die at older and older ages until they quit dying altogether.
Okay,
The biggest socialist phenomenon is
us turning into robots.
No, is all the money being taken away from dead people. You die, you give up 100% of your money. In the next 20 years, the average lifespan is going to move into the 90s. In the next 40 years, it's going to move to over 120. In the next 60, 80 years, it's going to move to more than 150. And when people don't die, they get to keep their crap. And so it's going to be a super non-socialist system.
Okay. I don't want to make these policies based on wild speculations about what the second generation is going to do. My policy is if we're spending between $135 and $300 billion a year on illegals, it's a bad thing. Can we change subjects, or do you have a retort?
No, I said my stuff.
All right.
All right. Trump Foundation gets sued by the state of New York for spending all sorts of money on non-charitable stuff.
You have a view on that?
Let's see it play out. They've got one receipt for $100,000 where they took charitable funds and Trump spent it on fighting some legal case. And they said the smallest the smallest charge that the charity spent money on was $7. Improperly was $7 for Don Jr.'s Boy Scout registration fee, and then they had $10,000 to buy a painting of Trump for one of his properties, and just all this stuff. So yeah, let's see that go to court.
Okay. I would just like to say that the New York court, these prosecutors, are the most corrupt people. They had a few years ago one guy that was the head that was really after prostitutes, and that was his big thing. And it turned out he was the biggest whoremonger in New York. I forget what his name was. It was a big
Spitzer?
deal. Spitzer. Yeah, Elliot Spitzer.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and then the next guy,
I know
that just had to resign because he kept beating up his mistresses. And the only thing that we know for sure about these prosecutors in New York is that they'll do anything to get a Republican. So I think it's just another dirty Democrat neither you nor I have any idea whether Trump did anything unethical.
Well, they showed the receipt.
Okay, and I'm telling you, I don't trust these New York prosecutors to
As
do
far as
the
you
right
could
thing.
throw 'em?
No, they're completely corrupt. They've been proven to be corrupt, and we know that they've got it in for Trump. So you're a dirty party.
So,
You're a dirty party that ruthlessly does anything it can to smear Trump.
let me recommend a movie. It's pretty old now, LA Confidential. But actually, there are a lot of movies like this and a lot of shows like this where nobody's clean, everybody's an asshole, everybody's corrupt. LA Confidential has a bunch of dirty cops, LA cops, I think going after like some kind of killer or whatever. But anyway, in a lot of instances, you have dirty folks going after other dirty folks. And just because the folks going after somebody are themselves compromised doesn't mean that the person they're going after is somehow clean.
If the New York DA's office came up with a picture of Trump strangling a puppy, I would not believe it. I would say it was photoshopped. I don't trust him at all. It's just sad that you guys can't win based on policies that people want to vote for. Instead, you got to come up with crap. Why don't you? You know what?
Well, let me recommend another show.
You know what?
On Netflix, there's a show called Dirty Money. It's 6 episodes. Episode 6, it's about some of the biggest con artists in America. Episode 6, I just started watching. It's about Donald Trump.
Yeah. Last week, you guys, I had to debate 2 liberals, and the only thing that you both agreed on was that you agreed on many things, but your policies were going to be higher taxes and more illegal aliens. And I thought, my God, the Democrats have nothing that the people of the country want. No one in their right mind is going to vote for a platform of higher taxes.
I'm okay with taxes where they are now.
And more illegal. No, but last week you said you thought the taxes should go higher.
I think
You did. You were there.
Well,
I was there.
Hold on. Property taxes
yeah.
in the state of California. Somebody should probably do something about that.
Yeah, you thought they should be higher, and your friend wants more illegal aliens. So I thought to myself, okay, so the Democrats basically have nothing, no reason any sane person would want to vote for them. So what do? They come up with these bogus charges against Trump. Maybe they go in and they find some little thing and they're going to prosecute him. And the stupid Democrats say, yeah, he's a bad man. The guy is doing miracles with the economy and with Korea, but the New York prosecutors, they're going to get it.
All right. Let's argue about Korea. So Trump meets with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Who says he's going to denuclearize.
Okay.
And it turns out the Kims or the Jongs, whatever it is, they've been saying that they've said this another 10 times over the past, since 1990 or something.
Okay.
And yet they keep doing it. They keep developing weapons and such.
Right.
So anyway, time will tell to see whether Trump is a master diplomat who's actually getting something done, or whether they're just not going to do it. I mean, we can mention the little frickin', what do you call the diplomat, like the little faux pas, like Trump saluting a Korean general, which doesn't matter except it makes for a good video. That stuff doesn't matter. But what matters is, I'll give you that Kim Jong-un hasn't tested a nuke in like 8 months. But let's see if he actually denuclearizes, gets rid of his nuclear weapons.
Well, he has destroyed his largest facility for testing weapons. He destroyed it already.
Destroyed how?
He blew it up. And some people say it blew up on its own, but if you really want a nuclear
Unlikely.
if you want your nuclear facility, you would build another one. So, I mean, whether he betrays us or not depends on the inspectors, and the whole negotiation has been two things: will you denuclearize? And Kim agreed to that.
So he's got like 50 nukes.
Hang on, please. There's only two issues. Will you denuclearize? He says he will. And then, what are you willing to let the Americans do to prove that you've done that? Are you willing to let our inspectors look through every single square inch of North Korea? Are you willing to let our inspectors dismantle the actual facilities, put them on ships, bring them out to the American shipyards, unload them in Long Beach? These are all, that's what they're negotiating about. Nobody, what's so weird is the Democrats don't realize that, yes, of course that's the problem. What are they willing to do in regards to proof? And as a result, what Mike Pompeo's been saying all along, and John Bolton, is that it has to be completely provable with absolutely complete freedom of inspection, snap inspection, meaning they can go in immediately. Under the Obama inspection guidelines with Iran, they had to give the Iranians a month notice. So so they could hide whatever they were working on. So
All right.
what Mike Pompeo and John Bolton have said is it has to be complete inspections. They have to be immediate or whenever necessary, and they have to be irreversible. So in other words, the North Koreans aren't allowed to put something in storage the way the Iranians did with Obama.
All right, so what's...
I mean, and if they renege on the deal, then Trump says sanctions will snap right back.
All right,
So I really don't know what the problem is, Rick. Why? You know,
I don't think we disagree here. So
Okay.
we're
All
both
right.
saying wait and see.
all right.
I mean, and the only problem really I have, is Trump saying, well, the threat of nuclear war with North Korea is now over.
Well, he thinks he did a good job.
Okay,
And the thing that,
Well, I have two problems with that.
What bothers me is that 3 months ago, you Democrats said that, or not 3 months ago, 8 months ago, you said we were on the verge of nuclear war because Trump is a madman.
I
And
didn't say that.
you didn't want his fingers next to the nuclear codes. I mean, I
don't recall ever saying anything
I've
like
actually been looking through old videos of Democrats from a year ago or when he took office saying we're going to be in a nuclear war because Trump is a madman. And I just think how vile and petty the Democrats are. They hear the guy does something that is really a breakthrough. He's got them to stop those nuclear tests. He's got them to agree in principle to everything we ever wanted. And
Well,
the Democrats
no, the agreement is pretty
are still
nebulous.
upset. It's not nebulous.
It's
It's
pretty-
complete, irreversible nuclear disarmament.
Yeah, so we have to.
mean,
we've
that's
agreed on
that's
wait and
not
see.
nebulous.
Yeah, all right,
That's very specific.
But I have two things. One is, and then we can move on. One is, I'm not sure how able Kim Jong Un would be able. I mean, I don't know how. I'm not sure that he could wage nuclear war. A, it's questionable as to whether he could really get a nuke over to the U.S. And B, if he did, his country would be obliterated.
And
So that's the thing.
I told you last time we had this debate that the danger was never to the U.S.
It was to Seoul.
There are three things that.
Yeah, but we don't need to go into
No,
them
no,
because
no.
we already
But I need to explain it to you. He could there are three possibilities. It actually was to the U.S. The U.S. would not be obliterated, but the U.S. could lose one city. And the question is, the reason that he could have blackmailed us is because what his strategy would be is, are you willing to lose Los Angeles to save South Korea? And many people, many American leaders would lose their nerve. They would say, you know what, I'm not willing to lose LA. I'll just have to abandon South Korea to the north.
It's simpler than that. If he does anything to South Korea or to the U.S., he gets obliterated.
Right, but we still lose Los Angeles.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. If you are a ruthless, insane dictator, you might just take those odds. You might just say, look, I don't care if Hitler would have. Hitler would have. I mean, one of the things Hitler was famous for toward the end was sacrificing thousands of his own people for tiny little gains. So it would have been a test of nerve between our country and theirs to see who would be willing to sacrifice more of their own people. And in situations like that, the dictator always has the advantage.
All right, let's move on. What are we going to talk about?
The IG report?
Oh, yeah, Inspector
You
General.
want to start with that?
I guess. All right. So each side, like you guys, you say what you're going to say. I'll say, I mean, it's apparent from the report, like Comey was stupid and effed over Hillary in her campaign. And then you guys are going to say, well, Strzok and Page. But go ahead.
Well, from the report, Comey didn't pursue Hillary for obstruction of justice. That's the first thing.
No, the first thing is that Comey steps out of bounds, is insubordinate by saying that by announcing no prosecution and saying that Hillary was careless with her emails, with an ironic additional point being that Comey himself was using a private email service,
Right.
while the FBI was going after Hillary for doing roughly the same.
So why do you say he fucked over Hillary? He actually saved her from jail.
No, because she didn't do anything prosecutable,
Well,
and
yeah, it's prosecutable.
On
Of course
October
it is.
28th, he says that she's under investigation again, costing her the election, and
Well, he had to say something. She'd obstructed the justice.
no,
Yes, she had, because
that's
she had,
not what he was talking about. He had to say something because the New York FBI office had leaked or because the Republicans in the Senate were threatening to leak that there was an investigation, and he had to say something to get ahead of the potential leak.
Well, what happened was the New York agency, I think it was just the police, had found Anthony Weiner had thousands of classified documents on his laptop that they had taken because of his perversion.
It wasn't his laptop; it was his
wife.
wife's laptop.
Yeah, but he had access to it. So not only had she had revealed classified information by having an unsecured laptop, but the IG report proved that Obama knew about it because he had sent emails to the email address that was not a government email address, and these emails had found their way to Weiner's laptop, and furthermore, the IG report disclosed that a foreign power had found secret documents on her laptop by breaking into it. Well, all of that's against the law. I mean, if you or I did it, we'd go to jail.
No, that's not the.
But that is the law. I'm sorry, Rick. if you are charged with having secret documents, and you take those copies of those secret documents and you put them on a server in your bathroom, and that server is not only unsecured, but it's
Then why did 10 days later Comey say that it turned out to be nothing?
because he was on her side. He's been saying all along that he's a Democrat.
No,
He
they
supported-
completed
he
the
supported-
investigation, and they found that there were
But,
no
but,
new.
no, but these are true things. Now, and furthermore, wait, she actually was sending unsecured emails to Obama from foreign countries. It was a complete open line. All of the United States secrets were open to foreign powers. That's what the IG report said.
So you're relitigating the investigations, and you're saying that, anyway, what the IG found was that Comey, in disclosing these investigations that should have remained private as long as there were no charges filed, actually screwed over Hillary.
Well, no, he rescued her because had it been anybody else, she would have been prosecuted.
No, there was not. They investigated and found nothing prosecutable.
No, it is prosecutable. That it is prosecutable.
That's not in the IG report. It's not
Well,
in the IG
the
report.
IG report said that a foreign power had hacked her computer because it was unsecure.
Does the IG report say these were prosecutable offenses?
It doesn't have
Is it-
to.
Oh,
Rick, it doesn't have to. If the IG report said Hillary killed somebody, it doesn't then have to say, and that's prosecutable. Rick
anyway,
wants
this is
to know.
the conservative spin.
No, it's not the conservative spin, Rick. If I was the Secretary of State and I was using
Well, so
I was using something that had been hacked by a foreign enemy, that's prosecutable. You're supposed to use a secret government server and a government email.
So they
And,
did these.
and Obama used her email, knowing that it was not government secured.
So anyway, we're talking about the IG report, but you're talking about stuff that's not in the report.
That is in the report.
Not that it's.
That is in the report.
Oh, so the report says that Hillary should have been prosecuted.
No,
but
that's
wasn't.
not. That was not.
Oh, so it's not in the report.
Rick. Now you're cherry picking what I'm saying.
No, you're spinning the shit.
Rick, I'm going to say what I'm saying. All right, so you can't twist it.
But your
The
shit comes pre-twisted.
report does not say this should be prosecuted. That was not the purpose of the report. The report said her server, her emails had been hacked. Top secret information had been hacked by a foreign power. That's what the report said.
Where does the report say that?
I don't know the page number.
But you read the report.
That is in the report, Rick.
Did you read the report?
I did not read a 500-page report, Rick.
Did you read this part of the report?
This part is in the report. Yes.
All right.
It is in the report. Should we look it up, Rick?
Yep.
Okay.
Breaking. 57.2 and a half. Got like 5 more minutes. All right, so you showed me an article from the Daily Wire, which is a conservative source, and according to the IG reports, Comey's report was, he had a draft where he said it was reasonably likely that Hillary had been hacked by foreigners. Change it from reasonably likely to possible.
No, it was changed deliberately to protect her. That the report that Comey made was to protect Hillary. So instead of saying it was reasonably likely that it had been hacked, he said it was possible.
Yeah, I just said that.
But beyond that, there are other reports. I mean, we only took 5 minutes. We took, for our viewers, we took a 10-minute break at most. If I could find the page, and you viewers at home can find, the IG report says that Hillary's emails were hacked by a hostile power, and that Obama was using an unsecured email with her. So they were also trying to protect Obama as well. And this is, I'm sorry, this is a security breach. And since Hillary Clinton had actually, as soon as she became Secretary of State, she released a circular to the entire State Department saying, make sure that all of your emails are sent on a secure server with a secure email. And then she set up her own private server so that she could do things that were illegal.
Lock her up. Put her in the cell next to Manafort.
So she did. Why did she set up a private email in a bathroom in New York? Do you ever wonder? I wonder, and I think there's only one conclusion.
I don't know. Why did Colin Powell? Why did Condoleezza Rice?
She did it because she wanted to keep secrets. She wanted to do things that no one would find out about.
Is that why Colin Powell used a private server?
I think that...
Was that why Condoleezza Rice used a private server?
I think that what happened was people got more and more sophisticated as the decades went by on how to secure emails. I mean, for a long time, we didn't even know you could hack emails. And every year that goes by, the need for security becomes more obvious and the methods become more elaborate. Anyway. So by the time Clinton set up her private email server, she knew full well that she was breaking the law.
I don't know. She talked to Colin Powell about it and da-da-da. Anyway, the upshot of Comey's behavior is that Hillary lost the election.
He was protecting her because she deleted 30,000 emails and acid washed the phones and gave phones to the investigators that had no SIM cards in them. So she obstructed justice, and Comey protected her. Because if you or I did that, if we were under investigation and we provided the FBI with deleted emails and broken up phones, we would be in jail right now.
So everybody was expecting her to win. What if she would have won and Comey had not exonerated her? Would there have been a constitutional crisis, or did Comey think that maybe she was going to win?
There would have been hearings. There'd be hearings going on right now, and this thing would continue to play out.
Well, the hearings would have gone nowhere because she would have prevented the FBI and the Justice Department from releasing the documents necessary, which right now they still aren't releasing because the people at the FBI are Democrats. They were Democrats. They still are.
Except for the ones in the New York office who leaked the information that led to Comey's having to make these announcements that cost Hillary the election.
Well, wouldn't you like them to do that?
No,
I mean, isn't
they
that
leaked
right?
to Giuliani. They fucked up everything.
Well,
so how much more time do we have?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Well,
Subscribe to our thing. Watch our frickin' videos. If you like two old Jews yelling at each other about this stuff.
I have more to say about this report, but we can hold off until next week because we're both exhausted.
All right. Thanks for watching.
All right.
See you whenever we
Oh, sing Volver, please. Volver.
Oh, yeah.
And this time, put some feeling into it.
Hurry.
I didn't do it the last time.
Hurry, come on.
Este amor apasionado anda todo alborotado por volver. Voy camino a la locura, aunque todo me tortura. Sé perder y volver.